You know they hurt you. You can list every moment, every cruel word, every broken promise, every time they made you feel small. And yet somehow, when someone else criticizes them, you're the first one defending them. Here's why that happens. It doesn't make sense on the surface. If someone treats you badly, logic says you should want distance from them. You should want other people to see the truth, to validate what you've been through. But instead, something strange happens. A friend says, "He's not good for you." And you find yourself explaining, justifying, softening the story, almost protecting the very person who caused you pain. If you're recognizing yourself in these words, subscribe right now so you don't miss what comes next. It gets even deeper from here. This isn't weakness. It isn't naivety. It's a psychological survival mechanism, and understanding it is the first step to breaking free of it. Psychologists call this trauma bonding. When someone alternates between cruelty and kindness, hurting you, then comforting you, then hurting you again, your brain doesn't process this as two separate people. It processes it as one confusing, unpredictable source of both pain and relief. And unpredictability, strangely, creates the strongest attachment of all. Studies on intermittent reinforcement, going back to behavioral psychology experiments with animals, show that inconsistent rewards create far more powerful bonds than consistent ones. A slot machine is addictive not because it always pays out, but because you never know when it will. Abusive relationships often work the same way. The good moments become intensely valuable specifically because they're unpredictable, and your brain starts chasing them the way it chases any intermittent reward. Another mechanism is cognitive dissonance. Your mind has a deep need for your beliefs and your reality to match. If you believe you're a smart, capable person who wouldn't tolerate mistreatment, but you're still in a relationship where mistreatment happens, that creates an unbearable internal contradiction. And the brain, instead of leaving the relationship, often finds it easier to rewrite the story, to minimize what happened, to tell yourself, "It wasn't that bad," or "They didn't mean it," or "I probably provoked it." Defending them in this twisted way becomes a way of defending your own self-image, of protecting the version of yourself that made a reasonable choice, rather than facing the harder truth that you're stuck in something harmful. There's also fear of being alone with the truth. As long as you're defending the relationship to other people, you don't have to fully sit with what it actually is. Admitting the truth out loud to someone else makes it real in a way that's much harder to undo. So defending them isn't really about protecting them at all. It's about delaying a reckoning you're not ready to have with yourself. There's a layer that goes back much further than the relationship itself. Attachment patterns formed in childhood. If you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, where affection had to be earned, or where conflict meant walking on eggshells, your nervous system learned a specific lesson early on. Love is supposed to be complicated. Love is supposed to require sacrifice, effort, tolerance for pain. So when you find yourself defending someone who hurts you, part of what's happening is that a very old, very young part of you recognizes this pattern as familiar, not healthy, familiar. And familiar often gets mistaken for safe, even when it isn't. There's something else worth naming here: shame. A lot of people don't just defend their partner or family member out of love or fear. They defend them because admitting the truth feels like admitting they were fooled, or that they allowed it, or that they're somehow responsible for staying as long as they did. Shame convinces you that silence is safer than honesty, that protecting the story protects you from judgment. But in reality, that silence usually protects the cycle, not you. Here's what's important to understand. None of this means you're broken or foolish or weak for defending someone who hurt you. This is a deeply human response, wired into how attachment, memory, and self-protection actually work. Almost everyone who's been in a painful relationship has, at some point, minimized it to someone else. Not because the pain wasn't real, but because naming it fully, out loud, to another person is one of the hardest things a person can do. The turning point usually isn't a single dramatic moment. It's smaller than that. It's the first time you catch yourself mid-sentence, defending something you know deep down was wrong, and you pause. You notice the gap between what you're saying and what you actually experienced. That gap, that small moment of self-awareness, is where change begins. If you've ever caught yourself defending someone who hurt you, you're not alone, and you're not weak for doing it. It's one of the most common and most misunderstood patterns in psychology. The goal isn't to feel guilty about it. The goal is to notice it gently, without judgment, and start asking yourself a harder question. Am I protecting them, or am I protecting myself from a truth I'm not ready to face? If this resonated with you, I'd like to know. Was there a specific moment when you realized you were doing this? Share it in the comments, even briefly. Sometimes putting it into words is the first real step toward seeing the pattern clearly. And if this helped you understand something about your own relationships, subscribe, because next time we'll talk about how to actually break a trauma bond once you've recognized it for what it is.